Thank you. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Before we start with our next interview, just a quick announcement for tonight's dinner. We appreciate your arrival at 6:45 p.m., 6:45 please, for the opening by Acting First Vice President and Minister for Economy and Digital Transformation, Mrs. Nadia Calviño Santamaría. And now, without further ado, Mr. Ricard Jermstem, Director General of the Swedish Competition Authority, and Ana Julia Parente, National Director of the Argentinian Competition Authority. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone. I will ask you some questions, Ricard. Well, the digital transformation of companies is happening on an increasing scale. Based on your experience, what are the most challenging aspects of it for competition authorities?
Well,
Yes.
Anna, it is worth saying that, of course, digitalization has brought huge benefits to consumers and companies, of course, but it is challenging. But it fosters innovation and economic growth. But with that stipulated, in the context of agency effectiveness, there are obvious challenges. One fundamental challenge is making sure we can acquire and maintain the necessary expertise to be able to understand complex markets with novel business models and technologies, and to effectively enforce competition rules on these markets. And this, of course, applies to digital platform, for example. We and many others in this room had dedicated significant efforts to enforcement and advocacy work in this area. I can mention a sector inquiry into digital platform markets that we undertook back in 2021 as an example. But we have also had a number of examples of cases that we have investigated. And this is resource-intensive and time-consuming work, and that undoubtedly has knock-on effects on how many investigations we can pursue at any other time. And digital markets, as we know, they are in constant evolution. We are, for example, beginning to grapple with questions relating to competitive conditions on the markets for AI services. For example, looking at the particular dynamics that are at play when it comes to generative AI. But we also need to keep up to date with the technology that companies can deploy in the digital area. And understanding their implications for competition, whether that is algorithmic price setting or blockchain collaborations. These require a different kind of technological know-how that competition authorities have maybe been used to in the past. Another challenge is the need to work at pace to address problems before they result in irreparable damage to competition in fast-moving markets. And this needs, of course, to be balanced, not to intervene too early and risking smoothing competition. That raises questions of whether, for example, interim measures can be appropriate in certain cases. Something that we have used in the last couple of years in a few cases. But it also means that we have to have efficiently run and well-defined investigations. It's not the only solution. When it comes to operative parts of our investigations, another big challenge is the sheer volume of materials that we have to search through in the course of our investigations, in particular in dawn raids. It places huge demands on us when it comes to finding and sifting through documents. A final point to say, maybe especially apt in this context, is that digitalization has led to companies operating across borders on a totally different scale than before, which demands that we have the powers and the capacity to cooperate in investigations. The bottom line of all this is that competition authorities must invest in resources, into staff, and tools in response to the digital resources in the digital area. And of course, our resources are not infinite. That's we all know.
Okay. And how does your authority utilize or is planning to utilize digital tools to make its operation more efficient?
Well, I think that digital tools have a great potential to increase efficiency and effectiveness across the board within competition authorities. Maybe most so within our investigations. One of the tasks for our data scientists, as well as assisting our case teams with analytical work, is just to develop new tools to address particular needs. A challenge there is that we have encountered is that the data protection rules limit the extent that we can use cloud-based services, for example. We have therefore had to build certain tools from scratch that might otherwise have been available off the shelf, sometimes even for free, but now we have to build them on our own. I mentioned the issue of the volumes of information that we handle during our investigations, particularly in dawn raids. And alongside strengthening our IT forensic capacity, we are currently developing more advanced word and concept searching tools. And I think this will help to streamline the process of document review by our case handlers. We are also developing tools to make files machine readable, a bit like they do in Spain, and accessible in other programs used by case handlers. And we are looking into ways we can assist and speed up our confidentiality assessment. This is a very important task, but a very time-consuming task, maybe particularly so in Sweden, given the rules on access to official documents that exist in Sweden. Another area where we are developing tools is in cartel detection, for example, with screening tools. We have web scraping, but we are working to refine them and make them more effective and flexible. But I think that one lesson we have all learned is that the work on agency digitalization in the ICN is that to reach the full potential of digital tools, we also need staff with the right skills to use them in an effective manner. And when it comes to cartel screening, you can have the best tools in the world, but your success will be very limited if you don't have access to good data. And that is a problem.
In your opinion, what is the right proportion of lawyer, economists, data scientists, and IT engineers for a middle-sized competition authority to stay relevant and efficient?
A good question, but a tricky one. As you allude to, we have begun to diversify the types of staff we employ at the competition authority, as many authorities are now doing. We recruited our first data scientist in 2021. Right now, we have 3 data scientists on staff, as well as a team of 5 IT staff that have both network infrastructure work and support to the case teams in terms of IT forensics. And it is hard. It's probably even impossible to give an exact number or what a good proportion is. I don't think that there is a one-size-fits-all approach. It's bound to depend on identified needs, and we also have to look at the type of staffing question in relation to the overall resources of our authority. But it is clear from the report on agency digitalization that we compiled in the ICN Agency Effectiveness Working Group a couple of years ago that the picture is really, really varied. We have heard inspirational examples from some authorities that have whole units of data scientists. Equally, there are very interesting examples from authorities that have come up with inventive solutions to limited resources. For example, we have heard authorities building excellent relationships with universities to encourage grad students to work on the tools that the authority needs. I know that some authorities might choose to train up existing staff with traditional lawyer or economist roles. But in our experience and based on our needs, it was not entirely possible to train the required skills solely within existing traditional roles of the authority. But we still need to train staff. We must staff with lawyer and economist roles. They must be complemented, and they must be trained to complement the work of other specialized data or IT staff. And we're also seeing that economists who are coming out of university, the young ones, they now often have a very good grounding in data analytics, which is good for us. A related question that the ICN has explored is how to integrate data scientists and the tech specialists into the broader organization, which can be tricky, to be honest. Again, I don't think that there is a one-size-fits-all solution. For our part, data analysts are part of the chief economist unit. Our IT forensic work is, on the other hand, placed within a different IT team. But investigations and studies are largely project-based, so it doesn't matter that much whether you are in one unit or the other.
Okay. Artificial intelligence and ChatGPT are gaining momentum these days. Do you believe that artificial intelligence and ChatGPT will provide valuable support for case handlers and improve agency effectiveness in the future?
Oh, yes. I'm convinced that AI and machine learning will have a big implication for our work process, though we are in a fairly early stage of understanding what that will be. We implemented an AI strategy back in 2020 and also established an internal working group to look into possibilities for the authority to use AI. So far, the main areas of potential application of AI are in situations where the authority needs to process and analyze data using, as I said, machine learning and text analysis. But again, data protection rules means that we are limited in how much we can use off-the-shelf AI solutions. I know that when the ICN looked into the question of AI in the concept of its report on agency digitalization back in 2021, agencies, they were very well aware that the potential benefits of automation, AI, and machine learning solutions, but examples of actual implementation were more limited. That may have changed today, following on the upsurge of interest in generative AI recently. But at the same time, in the ICN work, agencies have mentioned potential risks and pitfalls when it comes to the use of AI. Some raised the question of ethical challenges, others brought up issues with algorithm accuracy. There were also, of course, data privacy and security evidence derived from AI-powered analysis. They might also need to be addressed, those questions, as well as potential difficulties in interpreting results of complex machine learning tools. So it's tricky.
Okay. Well, and the last questions I have to you. In your opinion, is there scope for more international cooperation on these matters, and what do you think that the ICN can do to help competition authorities?
Well, it goes without saying that international cooperation is absolutely essential. If we want to keep ahead of the curve, then no authority can be an island on itself. For us, experience sharing in the Nordic cooperation and within the European competition network has been a major source of inspiration and will continue to be so. We have just launched a project in the Nordics to share best practices in the collection and analysis of procurement data. Internationally, the ICN has a lot of potential in this area as well as others. And I know that the Cartel Working Group has done a great work on digital evidence, evidence gathering, for example. And I already mentioned the work on agency effectiveness working group in charting competition authorities' digitalization efforts and highlighting good examples. So I really look forward to see the work being done by this new ICN Technologies group, because I think it's the right way and a need way to go forward.
Okay, well, that was very useful and helpful for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay.